So I think that Ryan Day kind of has Dan Lanning's number right now.
I will be going to the Ohio State.
Brian Hartline does it again. We got to talk about it, man. Ohio State gets the commitment of wide receiver Kayden Dixon-Wyatt out of Mater Dei, California. Obviously, this is a big time pickup for Ohio State and for Brian Hartline. I want to get into it because there is a little bit of nuance with this kid, man. Obviously, you're looking at the number 6 wide receiver in the country. This is based on 247 rankings. Number 59 national player. And honestly, I don't think that it's out of question that he will end up being ranked higher nationally and ranked higher as a wide receiver, just simply because Brian Hartline took him. He's going to Ohio State. I would expect to now see his rank get higher, and maybe he finishes as like the 3rd wide receiver in the country, and maybe like a top 40 player nationally, top 30, something like that. I could definitely see that. I mean, you're looking at a kid who had 700 yards last year, 5 touchdowns. Watching his film, man, he's a big time contested catch guy. Not the fastest guy, he's not like a burner or nothing like that, but also like stuff like that is going to develop at Ohio State. You also have just his ability to catch the ball with people near him and to like contort, maneuver his body to make sure that he's making the catches, man. This is a big time pickup for Ohio State, man. And obviously, when you're talking about wide receivers at Ohio State, the one thing that everybody is going to want to talk about is just Brian Hartline in general. Brian Hartline and his overall recruiting so far and his development has been insane. I mean, you're talking about probably, I mean, am I crazy to say the best wide receiver coach in the history of college football at this point, or at least pushing that? Brian Hartline in the last 4 years has had 5 wide receivers go in the first round, with at least one going in every single year of the last 4 years. I mean, you're talking about Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Marvin Harrison Jr., Emeka Ibuka, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. And I mean, if we're being honest, like Brian Hartline has to get credit for Jamison Williams too, right? Because I mean, that kid went to Alabama as a developed player already, and granted, he got his opportunity to show out at Alabama, but he left Ohio State and became the best wide receiver in the SEC. So I don't know, man. Just kudos, shout out to Brian Hartline, man. You can't give a guy like that enough credit. It's almost like Jeremiah Smith, right? Like, what do you say when somebody's considered the best at what they do? Do you continue gassing them up and giving them credit, or do you just like, well, what else can you do? And I mean, honestly, with Brian Hartline, I expect him to be phenomenal as Ohio State's offensive coordinator. Just because you're looking at a guy who's succeeded at everything that he's done in terms like football related, everything that he's done in his life. I mean, he was a good wide receiver in the NFL, good wide receiver at Ohio State, best wide receiver coach maybe in the history of college football at Ohio State. So I don't know, man. I'm excited about Brian Hartline and his future at Ohio State. I hope that we don't end up losing him to like a head coaching job or something like that in the next couple years. I think he loves the Buckeyes, man. So maybe that won't be the case, and we'll keep him around for a long time. I do want to dig into a little bit of this Kayden Dixon-Wyatt situation. Obviously, kid commits to Ohio State. I'm gonna actually play the commitment here for you guys. I thought it was pretty cool. He thanked God first. Obviously, I love seeing that. You see I love seeing that. And then he didn't play no games, man. He went ahead and just got his commitment out of the way. There was no 5 hats on the table, nothing like that. So let me go ahead and play this for you guys, and then we'll dig into some of the situation a little bit more.
I'd like to thank Jesus Christ. Without Jesus Christ, none of this would be possible. I want to
thank Jesus Christ. Love
my
that.
mother, my family, and my friends. Big shout out to Coach Pat, Coach and then Parker, and all my team. But with that being said, and my coaches, with that being said,
takes him a minute to get the hat out.
I will be going to the Ohio State.
Yeah, big pop from the crowd.
Absolute tremendous pick.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate how fire that hat is that he has on? I need to find that hat and get it for myself, man. That Ohio State hat is crazy. I love that. But yeah, man.
The Buckeyes, Brian Hartline.
I'm gonna actually stop this here. Let me get this off the screen here so we can continue talking about this. All right, so yeah, I mean, again, just obviously that's a big time pickup for Ohio State, big time pickup for Ryan Day and for Coach Hartline. Now, to dig into some of his situation a little bit, one of the things that I thought was funny about this recruitment is that Oregon and basically all of the insiders thought that he was going to go to Oregon. I mean, there was crystal balls coming in, there was all kinds of stuff, and it's like makes it a little more sweet that Oregon thought they were going to get him. And obviously with Oregon's situation, I feel like last year Dan Lanning and Oregon really kind of tried to build their reputation off of the fact that they beat Ohio State early in the season. And if you're an Ohio State fan, you saw so much fluky crap happen in that game that you just know, like, all right, if we see them again, then we're going to win the game probably. And when we did see them again, they got ugly. So I think that Ryan Day kind of has Dan Lanning's number right now. And it's funny to see that because when you're looking at a coach like Ryan Day, one of the big things that people have always talked about with him is how Michigan, they have his number, all that good stuff. So it's funny to see that Ryan Day kind of doing that to another, what you would call like elite program around the country. And I just need to see him continue that because obviously like Oregon is a threat. Like they could get really good at some point, but I want to see Ryan Day continue to kind of keep his foot on their neck. And, if they want to recruit, let's go get that guy as long as it's somebody that we want. So I think this was a big time win. I know I keep saying big time win, but I mean, you're looking at another team in the Big Ten, another team that's like that won the Big Ten last year. So obviously these are, you want to take as many guys from a team like that as possible. And they got it done, man. So that's awesome. I love that it was Oregon who thought they were going to get him. Kind of got to rip the heart out of the Ducks a little bit. So I love that. And then the next thing I want to talk about with his recruitment is Chris Henry Jr., right? Here in a minute, we're going to dig into a little bit of like what the Ohio State recruiting class is looking like for the wide receivers for the 2026 class. I mean, spoiler alert, it's loaded already. And we're still only in May, so that's awesome. But Chris Henry Jr. was in Ohio, committed to Ohio State, transferred out to Mater Dei, a program who Ohio State has really struggled to kind of break the ice with and get in. And when he transferred out there, the big question was, is Ohio State going to lose Chris Henry Jr. now? Well, fast forward the timeline a little bit, Chris Henry Jr. shuts down his recruitment completely, which that was awesome, right? Like, you love to see a kid just completely shut down the recruitment and be like, look, man, I know where I'm going. Like, I got a chance to go play for Ryan Day and Brian Hartline. Why am I out here messing around with all these other schools? So once he did that, I mean, that was obviously super cool to see. But Chris Henry Jr. going out to Mater Dei, where Kayden Dixon-Wyatt currently is, was obviously a huge thing because I think that made a big impact on Kayden Dixon-Wyatt's recruitment. And then obviously there's other connections with SFE. You look at guys like Jeremiah Smith, Brandon Ennis, Carnell Tate, Mylan Graham. All those guys played for SFE. That's South Florida Express, if anybody doesn't know. I mean, look them up. If you don't know anything about South Florida Express, look them up because Ohio State has an insane pipeline right now with South Florida Express, and they're putting out some of the best wide receivers that you're going to see in college football for the next 3, 4, 5 years. And Ohio State is right in there with them, and they're getting them. And, you see the guys from South Florida Express, they're tweeting out, they're making posts, and they're basically saying, like, if you're a wide receiver and you're serious about football, there's no reason why you're not going to Ohio State if they want you to come there. So I love seeing that, man. I don't know. This whole recruitment was just fun. I know recruiting is not like the biggest thing that I follow, but this one I did follow a little bit just because, like I said, man, you got the Chris Henry Jr. connection, the SFE connection. And plus, I think that this kid is the best wide receiver in this class. My personal opinion, I think Kayden Dixon-Wyatt is going to be the best wide receiver to come out of this class. I always felt that way. I always wanted to get him. And they did it, man. They took care of it. So the last thing I want to do here, because this is going to be a short show, maybe like 10 minutes or so, I want to dive into the Ohio State wide receiver class for 2026. Now, obviously, this is a big deal that Brian Hartline already has 4 wide receivers committed. The reason why I think that's a big deal is because I really want Brian Hartline to be able to focus his attention on being the offensive coordinator, and basically, like, he needs to learn how to play or call plays and learn how to be the offensive coordinator and continue growing in that job. So it's good for him to kind of get the recruiting out of the way and get it done. So just going down the list so far, Ohio State has 4 wide receivers committed. We have Chris Henry Jr. If you don't know about Chris Henry Jr., then you haven't really been following Ohio State too much, I guess, or recruiting too much. You're talking a kid who's like 6'6", moves very well. I mean, and he has some NFL ties. I forget who his is it Pac-Man Jones, I think, is like his godfather or something. I could be wrong about that. I'm sorry to Chris Henry Jr. and anybody else. I shouldn't really speak on that because I'm not 100% sure, but I know he has a connection to a former NFL star. And then looking at the next player, we have Jaden Ricketts, kid from Ohio, big time player, man. If you haven't looked up Jaden Ricketts and his tape, go check it out. I'm not digging too much into these guys. I'm kind of just going over the names and kind of what I think about them. But I think Jaden Ricketts, he kind of reminds me of Kayden Dixon-Wyatt in the way that he moves and stuff. So I don't know, man. I think I could see big time potential out of that kid. The other kid I want to talk about is Brock Boyd. Now, listen, I'm going to be honest. I'm the first one who would shoot down the idea of having a white wide receiver at Ohio State. I always make a lot of jokes about it and stuff like that. But when I went and watched this kid's tape, dude, he is different. Brock Boyd is different. He moves different. He looks like a freak athlete when you watch him play. And also, he's not one of those wide receivers that's like a short possession guy. He's a big time speed guy. He moves very well. He's fluid with his routes. If you haven't checked out his tape, please go check it out. I promise you, it's worth the watch. And I think he's going to be a big time contributor here at Ohio State, man. It's not, you don't see it too often, but hey, I think he's going to be a big time player here. And then obviously you have Kayden Dixon-Wyatt, who we talked a lot about, big time, contested catch guy, who I think that once Brian Hartline gets his hands on him, makes him a little bit better as a route runner, a little bit better as like change of direction, gets his speed up a little bit with the college strength and conditioning program. I think he's going to be a superstar, man. So I'm excited for this wide receiver class. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about all 4 of these guys, man. And listen, I'm just glad that we got to see the Duck Pack today because, listen, ever since last year when they tried to make their entire stigma, whatever you want to call it, about beating Ohio State, I kind of have real smoke for Oregon now. So I'm super happy about this recruitment, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up here. Thank you guys for watching. As always, hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're doing a lot of good things here at the Voice of College Football Ohio State channel. Just make sure you're tuning in. Hit like the notification button because we're constantly going live with different shows, man. Thank you guys for watching. You guys have a great day.